Joining me now, House Financial Services Committee member, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. Congressman, thank you for being here. This is so important. Under the leadership of Chairman Comer, you and your colleagues are uncovering an enormous amount of fraud. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a coordinated attack against the United States economy coming out of Southeast Asia. As you know, you reported, we're talking about billions upon billions, reaching really astronomical numbers, and they're hurting the individuals that can afford it the least. And so what we need and what we're doing on financial services is creating a framework where it's easier to report crime, and we need better, stronger sanctions against the country that are housing these criminal organizations, like has been noted from Southeast Asia. I'm also on Homeland Security and the chairman of Cyber, and we're seeing this from a Homeland Security perspective as well, where we're being targeted by these individuals, by these groups out of Southeast Asia in an intent to subvert the U.S. economy.
No, it is incredible the amount of fraud that's being uncovered. I mean, this really, I think, is so important to point out, because there's got to be accountability, especially from the states, whether it's California, whether it's New York. How far do you think you can go to make sure that these states do the right thing by the federal taxpayer?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the more coordination we have, the more communication we have between the states, the more reactive we can be at the federal level in communicating with our partners in Southeast Asia. And let it be a warning. If you're a country in Southeast Asia, you're not working with the United States to go after these criminal gangs, we're going to sanction you. We're going to find a way to get to these terrorists, to these organizations, these criminals who are hurting the American people and our economy.
Absolutely. We're going to be following the work of that committee, your committee. You know, a new Fox News poll finds that Americans still view capitalism more favorably than socialism, but that gap is narrowing. There's this economic tug-of-war that's happening. Confidence in capitalism has fallen to 50%. That's a 7-point drop from early 2019. Nearly 1 in 3 voters now view socialism favorably. And Senator Bernie Sanders says it's all the fault of the billionaires, of course. Watch this.
The American people are disgusted with an economic system in which one guy on top, Elon Musk, owns more wealth than the bottom half of American society. They're tired of a situation where 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck, where our kids are likely to have a lower standard of living than they do, while the very richest people in America are getting richer.
You know, as you head back to your district, how do Republicans make the case that capitalism is still the best path to higher wages, opportunity, prosperity? That messaging has to get out there. How do you do it?
Well, quite frankly, I mean, when you look at some of the data points and this idea that socialism is a good thing, it's typically, you know, centered around the blue cities. Look, socialism means standing in line for a loaf of bread. That means the government owns what you own. You don't actually own anything. You know, when you come down to the South, when you're in Tennessee, when you're in the rural communities that I represent, people understand and appreciate hard work, and that what they want less of is the government in their life, and they certainly don't want socialism.
Well, but at the same time, what we're seeing is it's this younger generation, it's Gen Z.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, the far left wing of the Democratic Party, the progressives, the socialists, if you will, they're getting them to vote. How do you combat that from the Republican side?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is communication, but I think what you're going to see is that Mamdani, his election in New York City is going to be a failed experiment. It's going to be socialism or attempts at socialism in real time, and I think it's going to be a lesson learned for the young people as they see the great city of New York falter under failed leadership. But to your point, we've got to make sure that we're communicating in simple terms why capitalism is good, why the American economy is the best, the greatest economy in the world. Look, it's called the American dream. There's no China dream. There's no Russia dream. There's no London dream, right? They want to come to the United States of America, not to the UK, not to France. It's here and here alone. Why? Because of capitalism, and because you can come here, you can have a dream, you can pursue it, and truly live the American dream.
Yeah. So let's talk about the midterms here, because, you know, Washington obviously remains focused on the midterms. It's going to be here soon. Some Democrats, they're already looking ahead to 2028. We had this recent New Hampshire poll, which showed that New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez leading the left's early presidential field. I want to get your sense of what you make of this. Obviously, you work alongside of her, if you can call it that, in Washington. What do you make of this new poll?
Look, I think it's a warning that, again, going back to some of the communications, I think sometimes as Republicans, we don't do a great job communicating. And that's why you've got to be in your district. And quite frankly, we need to speak in regular terms. And that's what AOC and Mamdani is so great at, is they distill it down to why does it matter to you? Why should it matter to you? Now, let's understand and acknowledge the fact that their logic is illogical. And we have literally the upper hand, the high ground when it comes to economic freedom, to prosperity, to individual freedom, and to liberty. But we got to make sure we're telling people that story. We need to demonstrate why our way is the best way, the path forward, because under Mamdani, under the AOCs, this economy will falter. They will make us subservient to other countries like China, like Europe. Not on my watch.
Well, and under her watch in New York City, immigration has, led to billions of dollars in taxpayer money locally being spent and thrown away. And that was under her purview, to be clear. So that is something else that I know is going to be coming up in the midterms is immigration. Once again, before you go, something else pretty frightening here. OpenAI reported a, quote, unprecedented case of tech-on-tech crime. Some of the company's most powerful AI models went rogue. They escaped safety guardrails during this test, and they hacked another AI company called Hugging Face to find secret information the models could use to cheat in their evaluations. Two companies are working together. It's an ongoing investigation of what happened. You're sounding the alarm on this, though. And some of Congress are pushing for an AI kill switch for any AI model that gets out of hand, which seemingly this one did. What do you mean with this?
Well, as chairman of cyber, this is one of the things that I've been talking about. I've had multiple hearings on this issue and making sure that we have safety guardrails in place. What's I think frightening about this one is that you had an agent, a model that was sandboxed, meaning that it should have been in an isolated environment, that it should not have been able to access the internet and leave that environment, and it figured out a way. And so that's the issue you have with not OpenAI, but with AI in general, is that it's a linear thought process in the fact that it had a command and it was going to execute it no matter what. When you and I make decisions, we use logic and empathy and all of the things that go into life and making complex decisions. That AI model simply did what it was asked to do, and it was willing to cheat to do it. That obviously we need to figure out how we prevent this as we go forward and put those guardrails in place. Now, the other side of that equation is we are in a race with China, and in China, when you look at their AI models, they don't use safety guardrails. They're unafraid of the consequences because their primary objective is to displace the United States of America, and they're willing to take whatever risks to get there.
All right, Congressman Andy Ogles, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.